Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Miss Yani and my friends. My name is Raudlatul Firdaus and I would like to present my review about the novel by Jane Austen. The title is Pride and Prejudice. The Pride and Prejudice is the second novel by Jane Austen that published in 1830, and the title is originally called First Impression, but she changed it into Pride and Prejudice before she published it. In 1995, there was a miniseries adaptation of the novel, and it also has film adaptation that released in 2005. This is the cover of the film, and this is the cover of the novel that I have. Published by PT Gramedia Pustaka Utama Indonesia, and the cost is around 70,000 rupiah, and it was 2 years ago. I don't know the price now. And next is the brief summary of the Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is set in Victorian era or 19th century, and it tells us about the love story of the second daughter of a middle-class Bennet family, Elizabeth Bennet, or they call her Lizzie, and the respectable landlord Fitzwilliam Darcy or Mr. Darcy, against the norms of society of that time. And they made it together after a lot of things that happened, through a lot of prejudice against self-pride. Though their first meeting didn't go well because Elizabeth was offended by Mr. Darcy, because Mr. Darcy thought that Elizabeth is unattractive and not as pretty as her sister, while Mr. Darcy had to swallow the bitter taste of Elizabeth's criticism of his attitude. The next is the important aspect. The first is pride. Pride is the first word from the title of the novel, and it clearly tells us that the pride is going to be a theme in this novel. And pride presented as a perfectly reasonable to some degree, but when it gets out of hand, pride will get in the way of the character happiness. It happened in the case of Mr. Darcy. He does initially place too high a value on social status, but he's so proud and secure in the pride that he doesn't bother even the basic of social interaction. And then he realizes the pride that he has is being the main obstacle in his relationship with Lizzie. The next is prejudice. Prejudice is the second word from the title, and this is another theme in this novel. The prejudice in the novel is a flaw of several characters, but the first and foremost is a main flaw of main protagonist Elizabeth Bennet. When she pride of herself on her ability to judge character, and it happens when she immediately prejudiced Mr. Darcy because of his dismissal of her at a ball, and she's already formed this opinion like Mr. Darcy is a bad person. So she believes all of the bad story about Mr. Darcy that's spreading around her, and this prejudice leads her to judge him unfairly and reject him due to inaccurate information. The next is social norms. Although the women were able to attend school in Victorian era, they still attached to prevailing social rules, like they still glorifies the patriarchal culture and uphold that women must obey the existing must obey the rules and the culture in society at the time, like a woman must obey what wanted by their parents. The woman have to obey what their husband say, and women don't may take an action that challenge the society. And all of the things that I have mentioned earlier are included to the patriarchal culture. So the next is patriarchy. Patriarchy is a social system in which men hold the primary power and predominate in the rules of political leadership, moral authority, social privilege, and control of property. This is some patriarchal societies are also patrilineal, means that the property and the title are inherited by the male lineage. And also the conflict that Bennett family have to face. The next is feminism. The existence of the patriarchal system in the society result in the resistance from women to equalize themselves. Elizabeth Bennet is the manifestation of the feminist woman that Austeen presenting in this novel, where she has to suffer for her freedom to determine her life choices without being limited by the gender differences, including determine the choice of a life partner. And Elizabeth show her existenceability as an independent and capable woman to carry out their roles in the life. The next is about the author. Jane Austen is born in 60 December 1775, Stephenson, England. So she was the seventh of 8 children. Her closest companion is her sister, Cassandra, and their father was a scholar who encouraged the love of the learning in his children, and their mother was a woman of ready wit, famed for her impromptu prose and stories. With a loving family environment, this certainly has an influence on her writings, not only on the Pride and Prejudice, but also her other book. Through her work, Austin seems to give a picture to us like this is how a woman should live and behave. This is another novel by Jane Austen, and this is a film, and it has a film adaptation. That's all for me. That's all from the review of the novel Pride and Prejudice. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much.